We all know the songs that defined an era. We know the voices that became global anthems. But history forgets the architects in the shadows. OJB crowned the African queen. Now, Afrobeats rules.
Yeah, yeah, you are my African queen. Ooh, Lord, ooh, Lord.
There's a difference between an hit maker and a beat maker. OJB had the elements of an hit maker.
OJB is somebody who would hear you for a few seconds and know if you're good or not.
Ojb was a forebearer that actually gave life to whatever we want to call it now, whether Afrobeats or Afro swing or whatever.
OJB never packs sound. OJB is straight to the point. That's when you can hear bang bang, bang bang, bang bang. Some people be acting like them.
When people talk about the foundation of modern Nigerian music, when people talk about the evolution of Afrobeat movement, people talk about Ojb Jezreel.
He wasn't a materialistic person at all. He was an artist through and through.
He was more experienced than them as regards the entertainment industry in Nigeria. Silver Point is his studio in Gbaja was a rallying point for most 90% of the Nigerian hip-hop artists then.
I know that sometimes we don't appreciate some things until we lose them. OJB was a gem. OJB was something. He's not just how do I explain? I don't know the English to use. OJB person will be like saying Angel. We just can't change things. We can make things happen. We can make things up. They're not the take. They're not the take. Because they'll just do what they want to do.
Say what? Yeah. I find you, I gave you all you needing. I know what you see, I know what I am feeling in my heart and in my soul. Oh, I know that it is love. And I know that this love was surely sent from up above. Cause you're the only one that I think of.
Silver Point is studio in Gbaja was a rallying point for most 90% of the Nigerian hip-hop artists then.
Your body make you shake that thing where you get. Let the music enter your head. Dance Baraje, Ojb Benjo with
Ojb Jezreel. First time I ever, okay, now let me tell you a quick story. In 1997, a friend of mine called me and that he had a contract to record a soundtrack, a movie soundtrack. It was a Hilda Dokubo movie called Another Campus Tale. So he said he was contracted to do a soundtrack for it. And he called me to feature on it. I was like, fine. And then I told him I had a young rapper that I'd also like to bring on if it was okay, if it was possible. He said yes. So I went to the studio in Ikeja with the young rapper, and we met the producer, met the studio engineer, and then we started recording. We finished recording the track, and while we're replaying it, somebody walks into the studio, a man walks into the studios. From the way he related to the producer, I knew we were good friends, and then he said, oh, let me listen to what you guys are doing. The producer played the track. The guy that walked in, I said, he likes this jam, he likes this jam. He now asked, who's this guy that rapped here? That was my verse. Producer pointed to me and said, it's him. I said, oh, nice. I said, okay. That when he was leaving, he said he would like to see me outside. We went outside and he said He owns a studio. Anytime I want to work, he liked what he heard. Anytime I want to work, I should just come over. I'm like, bros, I'm an up and coming. I don't have money. He said, nah, don't worry about the money part or anything. Like they say now, he said, I got you. I said, fine, thank you. I got his address and all, and he left. Now let me tell you everybody that was in that studio. This was supposed to be for my documentary, but let me tell you everybody that was in that studio that day. My friend that called me for the recording is Beast Wave, son of Senator Adefoye. The studio engineer in the studio that day, God rest his soul, was Tony Tonero. That did alone for Paul Plays Moshorire. The young rapper that I took with me that day to feature on that track is Freestyle, Tribesman. The producer of that track that day is Paul Play Dairo. And then the guy that walked in, that liked my verse and told me he had a studio and said I can come record anytime, that was Ojb Jezreel. And this was how I met Ojb, I think around 1997. Number 4 Gbaja, Streets, Surulere will forever, not just for me, but for the over, Ojb is produced for close to 100 artists. So number 4 Gbaja Streets will forever be. It's a street that's supposed to be engraved somewhere in the history of Nigerian music. So I got there, one of those days just to check out the place. And yes, small place, but then that was what you could call small but mighty. You understand? PC, keyboard, some small speakers. But the sound that was coming out from them, my brother, you know already, because we're here talking Ojb, we're here talking the man. God rest his soul. That was how I met Ojb, and then when I got to Gbaja, I met a couple of other amazing artists who were also hanging around. I don't know if he also gave them the same proposal he gave me, but I met a lot of people there. And my life never remained the same, because that was where I recorded Baraje, I recorded Big Bros. Ojb is somebody who would hear you for a few seconds and know if you're good or not. That's Ojb. And then at some point in time, one thing I'm always proud to say anytime, I actually am the first person, I started calling him Jigga because of Jay-Z being the boss. Started calling him Jigga, and everybody kind of like just got on, caught on to that. And I can tell you, Ojb produced almost 50% of the songs that year on radio. For Top 100, he produced over 50% of the songs. It was as if, how would I put this? He's plugged to whatever he's producing for you. Ojb is plugged to whatever, and before he produces for you, he has to either already have something in his head with you in mind, or he will wait until he has the right sound for you.
The first main single of X Appeal, that is song titled What You Want, featuring Plantation Boys.
It's alright, alright.
That was the first song he produced for me and Lexi Do, and it was a great job, and it was an instant hit. And basically it was a hit. The production Ojb did back then, which contributed a lot to what we have right now. It's so wonderful, it's so amazing to see everything developed to this level of international. I mean, we are now internationally known, the Afrobeat thing, People benefited from it. People got inspired by what he did. Even back then, because he did it when it was seemingly impossible.
Ojb was a good storyteller. There was one of his stories, that he tried developing. He spoke to me about it and all of that. 2003 was when, we started working. It was Baba Keke I was working with Kenny's Music at the time. And Baba Keke told me, that he would like me to work with Ojb, and asked if I was down with that. I said, of course. So he called Ojb, and we started working. Ojb produced a number of, tracks, which Madame was a part of.
Why don't you let me love flow and go? Oh, yeah. They cannot explain what your daughter mean. In my life, madam, your daughter dislodged my pain.
Immediately, I took the work to that particular track, Madame, to Baba Keke. It was Baba Keke and I Do that were together, and as soon as they heard it, they fell in love with it. In fact, it was the same day Baba Keke played it on Ray Power. And, the rest is, it's not just history, it has stood the test of time.
Ojb was an enigma in our time. It contributed so much to the popular culture that we have now. Our pop music is, of course, Afrobeats and Afropop and Afro this and Afro that. So it was one of the people that actually shaped the landscape as well, together with a whole lot of us, McCoyo and all that. So, but Ojb is going to forever be in our hearts, when we listen to his songs and his works.
Ojb was many things to many people. Ojb was a mentor, a friend, a brother. But what we know him mostly for is a badass producer. Ojb was like a shepherd because he had a lot of sheep around him. Me included, there was plenty of us. There's Keisho Sigso, Senior, and Normalos, rest in peace, brother. Joe Kenny, Mr. Smith, NY, wow, Naughty Pin, Jazzman, all of the. Come on, we could go on and on and on and on. And who didn't come to the studio then? That was how welcoming Ojb was, because who didn't come to the studio? And, we all slept in his house. Right? We all ate his food. It was a privilege. It was a privilege to learn from him. Not just learning how to make music, but to be a man. To not just be a man, to be a good man.
Bruh, it can't be overemphasized, man, because Ojb actually was more or less like anybody that is anybody today most likely passed through Ojb. You feel me? Whether it's the Wizkids, whether it's Two-Face. Two-Face's album was recorded, Ojb produced and recorded it at number 4 Gbaja. Wizkid used to be part of the family back then. The band used to be part of the family back then. I think he needs to be more. He needs to be celebrated more. He needs. The audience and the public, both the musical audience and the public at large needs to be sensitized about the work that Ojb Jezreel did put into the music industry, because I feel like that is being left out and that is not being talked about enough.
Something that's always been my take about Ojb from the beginning, which is one major thing that I've said and I'll keep saying till date. There's a difference between an hit maker and a beat maker. What differentiates Ojb from a lot of us and a lot of people at that time was the fact that, that differentiated him then was the fact that I was able to identify that Ojb had the elements of an hit maker. Ojb is straight to the point. That's when you can hear bang, 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 bang. Some people will be acting like them. No, see, as in direct, it gives you straight. You can know that this is what he wants to achieve, and those are signs of what you know as a hit maker. He built that signature for himself, and he was the first that started. He will know when he will jump on your sound and scream his name, so you can know that, guys, I did this. So Ojb's name was on every production in this Nigeria, you know, from Two-Face to, let me not start mentioning names, of course, Two-Face to Jasmine Olofin to Okbo. Look at African Queen now. You know how far that song went? Put Nigeria on that global, you know, that global table, that level.
Ojb is a great, not just a great music producer, but a great man, because what Ojb stood for was beyond just producing it, was beyond just producing music, but Ojb was a forebearer that actually gave life to whatever we want to call it now, whether Afrobeats or, you know, Afro swing or whatever. Ojb was one of the very few people that I was looking up to, majorly in the Afro hip hop space. Ojb was the major person I was listening to. I love the way Ojb actually goes about creating music, the simplicity, lesser instruments, but you get to hear all the elements, a hooky instrument that you get to hear. He encouraged me. I think that is what he does to everybody. He's a great forebearer and mentor, because he's not insecure when we get to come around him. You know, he also has great guys around him that he actually mentored, the likes of Joken, who eventually became my very good friend, and a whole lot of guys, the likes of Rugged Man. You see Rugged Man, you see Two-Face, you see Sixo, you see Casio, you see Abounce, a lot of veterans that we have that we celebrate today. You always see them at the Silver Point studio around Ojb. And this great man kept on creating stuff different for everybody, and everybody was, so it was somebody that I actually had to look up to.
Ojb Jezreel, a legend, one of Nigeria's greatest musicians, songwriters, and producers. I met Ojb way back in mid-90s at Class Studios. I was introduced to him by Makaiba, who was the in-house producer at that time at Class Studios. From there, you know, we started working together. We worked on so many projects. I can remember when we used to sit in, you know, his sister's school beside his mother's house in Surulere. We were just trying to emulate the likes of Boyz II Men, Brian McKnight, Jodeci. It was always very funny because his mom would walking on us and start laughing like, yeah, so those were very great memories with him. We worked with so many advertising agencies. From there, you know, we worked with so many Nigerian artists. When I joined Kenny's Music, I was still producing, but he went on to start producing the likes of Two-Face, Jasmine Olofin, Rugged Man, and these guys will equally come to my office in Ikeja as well to work in my studio. Yeah, so we were close up to the end. It will be missed because his death came as a shock to me.
May this be a hurdle that we skip over in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen. May money not be the problem. Amen. May health not be the problem again. I don't know why I have to do this, but we need money to do stuff, but at the same time, we need your strength and your support. Because even at the presence of money, we still need you to carry out and see through this operation. I believe the operation is successful already in Jesus' name. Bless his family, provide for everybody here, and may we not have any reason to gather like this again other than joyous and jubilee over greater things in the mighty name of Jesus.
My support, especially when he was down with his illness before he traveled for an operation and when he got back. And at the end too, I was a part of every event that happened for his burial. You know, it was I lost a very dear friend, and for me, my impact to Ojb transcends his time on earth. I still talk to his wives. I talk to some of his children. You know, I talk to his production team. till tomorrow, and I also find out from them how things are going as regards its publishing, etc. Silver Point is studio in Gbaja was a rallying point for most 90% of the Nigerian hip-hop artists then. A rallying point as in people wake up in their homes and just go and sit down there, hang around. That's where some journalists will come to do interviews. That's where some radio presenters will come to pick music. That's where it was a hub for the music industry. Likes of Wizkid spent like 4 or 5 years not producing, just sitting down and watching things being done, watching the industry grow, watching artists that it was watching on TV come into a studio and create songs. It was those kind of people that you call the studio rats then. Now, I'll say something here. When Ojb was cooking his productions, we didn't have much of these digital studios. We had very few across Nigeria, across Lagos, not even Nigeria. You know, there are like 2 or 3 across Lagos. I think Eko FM. No, there was no musical studio in Ray Power. There was only a radio studio. Musical studio that produced music. No, sir. No. Maybe they eventually, then they didn't have. Maybe they had, and eventually, I don't know. Ojb literally had a keyboard, his laptop, and a few things in one room in his personal home. And the productions that came out of there, till now, if you put it on any deck or any player, it sounds as if it was done in a fully loaded digital studio.
When people talk about the foundation of modern Nigerian music, when people talk about the evolution of Afrobeat movement, people talk about Ojb Jezreel, and they talk about him with respect and honor because he played a key role in the development of that industry. And Ojb was more than artist or a producer. It was a visionary. It was just everything. You know, when you talk about storytelling, you talk about the emotion he brought into his music, and most importantly, artist development, because so many artists came through him. You know, so many artists went on to become superstars. Myself too, I was indirectly influenced. Ojb produced so many of those Ovation Christmas songs. They call it Ovation Christmas Carol. He produced some of those songs. So recently, the Billboards released top 10 songs, top 10 Afrobeat songs of all time. And I was going through that list. Fortunately for me, number 10 song on that list was a song I produced for P Square and Akon, Chop My Money. Then I was going through that list. Number 1 song on that list, African Queen, produced by Ojb Jezreel. So you see today people talk about the global dominance of Afrobeat, how Afrobeat has taken over the world. But there are a few producers who built the bridge before the world even started paying attention. Ojb was one of those pillars.
JK was a kind of a person that you could only be friends when you are friendly. He wasn't a materialistic person at all. He was an artist through and through. He was a perfectionist. That is why when you come to him, he writes a song for you, he sings it, and you rehearse it. He was different. We sat in my parlor. He discussed and said, oh, this thing, they just gave me a few time to leave. He said, it's not going to work. He said, but the only reason why I'm happy is because God gave me that second chance to make amends, and also gave me the opportunity to see human beings for who they are. He did not die with regrets. He died happily. And from that time, I had a different view about life. That indeed somebody and some people that there could face it and say, oh no, you can't break me. He was a good man. He was different. He was a gift, not just to the music industry, but to all of us.
It's already 10 years. The pain still there for heart, still somewhere. We have met in different places. You know how the industry is. We hear about each other. Of course, he was the baddest producer alive at the time, you know, having been the power behind all the great hits that you can think of. So when I wanted to do a hype for the Gosporella brand, of course, it was to Ojb I went. So it was just a short thing that I did. But Ojb added juice to that thing that up to tomorrow when I play it, it's still like it was done yesterday. So he did the jingle without asking me for money. Ojb, you know, he doesn't talk much. So I can just be sitting down there looking at him and all that. And I was telling myself, I can do this thing. Why don't I just ask Ojb to teach me till tomorrow? I can do this thing. I'm supposed to be one of the baddest producers. Jiga was a gentleman. Jiga was a prolific businessman and producer. Jiga knew what he wanted. He went for it. Miss you, man. Continue to rest in peace, my brother. God bless you.
Lord, you know, as they go, that I'm nothing in this world without you. And you know.
My name is Ololade Korede Iyong. These are my children. Anthony Febi Okungbowa, Ojb's son, and Ojb Jezreel Okungbowa, Ojb's daughter.
10 years has been a long time. There's been a lot of experience and a lot of things that have happened that have shaped me into what I have become today and what I'm still going to become in the future. You know, even when you're not around, it still leaves an impact in all of us. It still leaves an impact in me, especially. It makes me want to do more. It makes me want to stand above the norms. It makes me want to do things that are above what people say it's normal, because I know that that's not my path. I can't come from a bloodline of something this strong and feel like, yes, I want to follow the normal path of things. And this is all because of who is my father.
I wish I had more time to hear you sing, to hear you laugh, and to make more memories. But I carry you with me every day in who I am becoming. I hope I make you proud. You may be gone from my sight, but not from my heart. I love you always.
He has a way of making people feel seen and valued. He helps so many people, sometimes quietly, without expecting anything in return. To many, it was more than a producer. It was a mentor. It was a safe place. It was peace to a lot of people. His house was everybody's house. To me, it was my safe place. It was my partner. It's the father of my children. And is one of the greatest blessings to my life. Even after 10 years, his love still lives in our hearts and in everything we do. Jiga is almost everywhere. Even though he's no longer here, his works, his music, his voice, and his kindness still speaks. His legacy still lives on through his music and his production and every life he has touched. The fact remains that every music Jiga has produced and every artist Jiga has ever worked with, the work is out there, so they will never forget him. The legacy will continue to live forever. That's one thing I'm sure of. 10 years later, and your light still shines, Jiga. You are a superstar. Continue to rest in peace.
We love you, Jiga.
We miss you so much. Continue to rest in peace.